What's up? Okay, so the way it usually goes is I start you just literally just start talking about shit, anything that's on your mind, and then you just elaborate, pull the strands, pull the strings, and just see where things go, dude. It's a lot of fun, dude.
Okay.
So how do you like living in Aventura?
Aventura. Ooh. It's okay. Have a good view.
Mm-hmm.
People are nice,
Mm-hmm.
but
How long have you lived there for?
2 years.
2 years in Aventura. Before that?
Before that, Mexico City.
You only been here for 2 years?
Only 2 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty recently.
Yeah, how do you like it?
Love it.
And you lived in Aventura the entire time since you moved here?
Entire time. Yeah.
How did you decide to go there?
After college, I got a job in investment banking.
Mm-hmm. No way, really?
Yeah. And I said, okay, let's do this. Let's try something new.
Okay.
Let's do this. And
What?
yeah.
Okay.
And I moved by myself to Miami.
Wait. Okay. First of all, that's crazy. I didn't know any of that. Because when I met you, I thought you did real estate, and then you have this other job.
Correct.
So what happened? How'd you get that? What'd you study in college?
I did biotech engineering.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Science. Yes.
Biotech engineering.
Yes. And life just took me to investment banking with renewable energy companies. So I thought, okay, I want to learn business. I want to do finance. Maybe it's a good way for me to leave science behind. And
did you like doing science?
I did, but it was very competitive. It was the environment, the people are very private, and I'm more of a
social person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Teamwork. Let's do this.
Gotcha.
So I thought maybe the business side of science could be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this job in investment banking to learn a little bit more.
Did you apply, or how'd that work? Or was it a job fair?
Applied.
You applied. You just thought, oh, this looks cool.
Yeah, I met the human resources guy through a friend.
Okay.
And they contacted me.
It makes a huge difference, by the way, to me, because like when I was applying to jobs after college, I had a creative writing and literature degree, which meant nothing to everyone, and so I would apply for jobs and they would just reject me out of hand because like they'd just see on the resume that it said like English major and they just wouldn't do it. But when I would find like an alumni or I'd find someone that like I could talk to. And then I'd reach out. I'd send them an email. I'd find out the company's email thing. So like if it was Disney, it would be like first name dot last name at Disney.com.
Correct.
And then I just reach out and say, hey, I'm an alumni. I want to connect, talk about like what the job is like, and if you can help me, I want to get interested. I want to get involved. And I had like probably a 65 or 70% response rate. Of like people that like that people would just get back to you and say, hey, happy to get on the phone, let's talk about things, let's see what you want to do and what you can do, and send me your resume, I'll see what I can push through. I didn't really that's the way to get a job, dude.
Everything is through contacts. Everything is through knowing people, because imagine somebody working at human resources, how many resumes they get. It's like college essays.
Yeah.
How many college essays does somebody have to read and go through, and how do you pick?
Yeah, who is
the best candidate out of just a sheet of paper?
Yeah. It also depends on their mood.
Also depends on the mood.
It's about there's so many different factors. Like for example, there could be a sick candidate, but if you have a stack of 200 and you don't feel like going through them, you just hire within the first 100 of the 200 stack. Like you could be way more qualified, but probably never get like 2 on the list because they just take as they go.
Yeah, even now with AI and all these programs, it's if you don't have the keywords on your resume, you won't pass the first filter.
That's crazy.
So you can be this great guy, bring a lot to the table, but just because you don't have those keywords,
I didn't know that.
They'll totally miss you.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess that's what happens to me, right? If you just put down degree or what you studied, right? I bet that there's keywords, that you're not going to take, something outside of that.
Yeah, 100%.
I kind of get it too, from their perspective,
Imagine, they have to do something. If not,
yeah,
resumes and essays and all of this, and it's like it's overwhelming for one single team of human resources to gather all this and make a choice.
Totally. What was the interview process like? Because I heard investment banks are tough.
The interview was pretty tough. It was 2 days, but it was with everybody from the company.
Okay.
From CEO, CFO, COO,
No way.
everybody wanted to meet me. They wanted to do things.
How many people were at this company?
It was a small company, so I think 15 people.
Nice. Okay, you met with everyone.
Everyone. And then I had to do this sort of modeling exam
Mhm.
to see where I am on my basic Excel skills.
Yeah, okay.
And I did horribly on that exam.
Really?
Yeah.
And they still hired you?
They said they have an internship position.
Okay.
That they really liked my profile. They really liked my
You,
attitude,
yeah.
everything, and said you can start as an intern, and we'll see how you progress.
Wow.
Because we are sort of looking for people. We do want to train,
That's
new
awesome.
guys.
Yeah.
So I had this opportunity for 3 months, and then I got hired on a full-time
Wow.
junior basis.
Okay. Okay. What were the 15 hours of interviews like when they did when they asked you to like?
So it was all over the place.
Really?
The CEO asking me like, "What is your greatest failures, greatest projects?"
What do you say to that? What do you like? Do you come up with answers in advance that you
No,
think?
you have to practice them.
You practice
Yeah,
them. You know,
100%.
you had a feeling that what they're going to ask.
Yes. You go online, you look at top 10 most asked questions
Mhm.
in an interview.
Yeah, and you study the answers to
You
them.
start to answer those because some of them maybe you won't know how to answer, but maybe 80% of the questions they ask you, you
Or
are
on that
prepared.
list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you were pretty prepared in terms of that.
I was, but
You
I
know,
had this.
stupid. They also know that you're. They also know that you're looking up the answers and preparing it in advance. Like,
Correct.
if you really cared, like you'd want to see what they're like on their feet. I imagine. No.
Correct.
Unless
That's why they do the exam. That's why you don't only have one interview. You want to go through everything.
Mhm.
And by my last interview was with my manager, my
Okay.
direct manager, and he asked me if I play fantasy football.
Okay.
Favorite team, favorite sport, what do I do in activities? He wanted to get to know me off of work.
Yeah.
Because we'll be working together.
Sure.
On it almost.
But also, you guys also party. I'm sure you guys partied a lot too, right? Because it's a big part of the culture.
Yeah.
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 Right.
So it's not only on what you can bring as skills,
Yeah,
but
but
who you are as a person.
yeah, totally.
And I think I really I accepted the job because I really like that as
That's
a
awesome.
company.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, not a lot of companies do
Did
that.
it feel like you were joining a frat?
No.
No?
Because my boss was, I think he's 67 or even 70.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And so he's this bald British guy.
Mm-hmm.
He
Nice.
It was
brilliant.
I got hired before the World Cup. So he was like
wow,
setting everything up.
You're probably a big World Cup. You're a big soccer fan, right?
I'm a big soccer fan. Yeah.
Right. The World Cup was amazing, dude.
I loved it.
That was a year, 2 years ago now? It couldn't have been 2 years ago. That's 2 years ago? Holy crap, dude. And it's every 4 years?
Every 4 years. So 2026, we'll go see Mexico versus the U.S.
Yeah, dude. I would love to go, dude. I would love to go to a football soccer game. Dude,
they're so funny.
I would love to, man. I mean, I think Ted Lasso, the TV show, came out around the same time as the World Cup.
Yeah.
Which I bet was not a coincidence in terms of the planning from from Apple. But but yeah, I was in Israel. I was watching a lot of the games when I was in Israel. I was visiting with my wife for vacation. She was expecting. We wanted to go on a trip before we had the baby, so and that we would never be able to travel again. So, dude, going to the supermarket sucks with him. Because you're dealing with a kid and he's crying and he's
you want to
go in, you want to get in the, you want to get the car, you want to go home. Like, I love shopping by myself. I love shopping by myself now, dude.
It's your meditation.
I went to Costco and Trader Joe's today. It was the best thing in the entire world, dude. I was just like, I was stocking up on everything. I had like a clear list. I wasn't distracted by anything. I was in the zone. I got a podcast on, and I was just like, I was making my way through.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah, dude. But I love Costco.
I would do, put my headphones in.
Yeah, I had them in.
Ignore everybody.
Mm-hmm.
do my own thing.
Yeah. Everyone does that. Everyone does that today when you shop.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I started just making eye contact and saying like hi to people or what's up.
Bold.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's also like, so I started doing it. I'm jogging because I figure like these are neighbors that I haven't even met yet. That I'll say hi to them. But I found that just makes it just feels good. Feels good to like have like a positive little interaction. You know, like
Yeah, positive
you're like, hey, how's it going? Good, nice, have a good day. You know, like
Yeah, of course, of course.
if you're driving next to someone, happens. So, dude, so you moved to so you got the job offer.
I got the job
You
offer.
moved to Aventura. You're working in Brickell,
Brickell. So
and
the
that's
drive was horrible.
it's an hour and change, right?
Yeah, an hour. So
And it's probably like it's also like 15 miles
it's
or 10
far.
miles.
It's sort of far, but because of when you leave Aventura, there's so much traffic, and when you enter Brickell, there's so much traffic.
When you leave Aventura,
Ives there.
you get to Ives. You take those 2 miles to get to 95 could probably take you 40 minutes by itself, right?
Or Ives there, or the 163rd can be just
Yeah,
daunting.
yeah. Gotcha. Okay, and so I mean, you're not still there.
I'm still there
What?
in Aventura. Oh
No, the company.
the company. No, I changed to real estate.
So why did you decide to do that? So you, because there's so many different components over here. Because you have your degree, and then you have the switch to sales, or not sales, to business.
To business,
right?
Then sales.
What was the job there like?
In investment banking?
Yeah.
That's why I left. Because it was 24/7 on the computer doing PowerPoints and Excels. And I would leave.
You're working like 70 plus hour weeks?
Yeah. I would leave work at 7 at night, and they'll call me, once I get to my house, they're like, hey, we have to fix this. And I'll have to hop on my computer and keep doing that until 9 a.m. because we have a presentation.
Right.
So it was rough. And
did you learn a lot?
I did. I love Excel.
You love Excel now, really?
I love Excel.
It's so funny. I feel like
good.
Only people that like were forced to use it for a certain period of time end up loving it. Like it's Stockholm syndrome.
I do everything. All my fantasies,
everything's on Excel now?
Everything's on Excel. And
really?
Program. So it's so much fun.
Wow. Yeah, because it's so customizable?
It is. Yeah. I would love to learn, actual programming.
Because they want to learn coding.
But
you should.
With Excel, I'm happy for now.
I think coders, from the people that I know, my experience with my friends, the coders have the best work-life balance, and they make probably some of the best money. Crazy. Other than say like a lawyer or a specialized doctor, when most people our age aren't anyway. Yeah. Right, but you could be 22 or 23 and teach yourself to code and get a job that starts at like $125,000 a year and work 7-8 hour days. Correct. Like that's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, because you're just creating so much value all the time that like,
and you're actually creating something people can use.
Yeah. My friend was telling me because I love to write. I love to write. I love music. I love like the story. Like I love stories and storytelling, and like being creative. And he was always more of an engineering kind of guy. And then he learned how to code. And he's like, this is like I feel about coding the way you feel about writing. Like I feel like I'm building something that like becomes tangible and like
100%.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, or what happened to me is like I always wanted to be an inventor, doing something. That's why I went into biotech, thinking like you take something from nothing, you create something that exists. Yeah. But with programming, like you actually see it work. Yeah. It's not just
it immediately comes to life.
I build this. It's like it comes to, and it's fully dynamic. It's sort of like how they created AI.
I was going to ask, what do you think about it?
Oh, I love it.
You love it?
I love it.
Do you use it all the time?
All the time.
I never use it, dude. Oof. I need to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's good because, for example, all my Excels in investment banking, if I forget a formula, if I still get like an error, I would use ChatGPT to
get out of here to solve that, really?
So it's so much, I saved so much time doing that.
It's such a great tool.
It is. I think there's a big problem with, AI and
you think so?
How do you teach now in schools with AI? Like some schools are trying to eliminate, like you cannot use ChatGPT to write your essays. You cannot use ChatGPT to do this. Yeah. And I agree to a certain extent. Okay. Because these kids, like if they're in middle school or high school, they're going to start working and everything is going to be about AI.
Yeah, it is.
So schools to restrict that is like
stupid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Actually, it's funny that you say that because I teach high school English, right? And I really was. I'm trying to figure. I'm always playing around with what I'm trying to teach them. You know, what will work or not, and like what we should do, and also ways that are like actually that they could actually learn from. Like something like I don't want to make them memorize stupid shit for no reason, and like it doesn't do anything. I want them to learn about like life. I want them to be better people.
Yeah.
And but also I don't want them to do irrelevant tasks just for the sake of doing it. I always thought that was a dumb part of school, right? Like you have to read this book, and you're like, why this book? Is like because every English class last 30 years has it. I'm like, that's not a good reason to teach a book,
that's not
right?
good.
So
But there is a fundamental reason why
why what?
kids or
Yeah.
they have to be like, you do this, and you repeat it, because if not, you'll never learn.
Well, right. You have to be you have to be methodical,
Yeah.
methodical about it. Methodical about it, and you have to be and you have to be disciplined.
Discipline. Yeah, correct.
You have to you can teach discipline.
Yeah, I understand when people say like learning math and learning chemistry is like, I'll never use it in life.
It's so
But
stupid, by the way, because it's not true. You could.
But the way you think, the way you
Yes,
learn,
it develops your brain.
Correct. And the same thing goes with English. Like, okay, the essays, yeah, you can use ChatGPT and you can use whatever, but it's a fundamental skill to learn how to write.
Right.
It's a fundamental skill to learn how to read.
Totally.
Understanding.
Yes. So that's what I told them. So that's why so my conclusion I came to was we're going to do minimal formal essay writing, because I do think that at the end of the day, they're going to, when they're in college, or, you know, if they go to college, but by the time they get to college, right,
Yeah.
they're never going to have to write a formal essay ever again.
Ever.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I said was, what is important, and the skill that you could develop, is getting your thoughts from thoughts to words or thought to paper, right? And I was like, so when I give you guys a test, when I give you guys an essay, I want, assignment. I want you to be as detailed and individual, like self-expressive, right? So like what like we were talking about like smartphones and addiction, right?
Oof.
And
Great
one of the
topic.
thing was, and I said, what do you think about this, and why do you think the world is a better or worse place? And give me an example from your life. That way, it's not just a formal essay, but they're learning how to.
Of course,
So many people don't know how to get their thoughts
report.
out of their mouths,
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
and I think it's such an important skill.
Yeah, definitely. You make them think about their own life. You make them
Mhm.
express what happened, and definitely learn how to express it correctly.
Totally.
And I do believe some teachers, like when you write an essay,
Mhm.
they always typically want to see sort of like the same structure.
Yeah.
So
So the basic
outline-
structure,
yeah,
basic structure for sure. I teach and I explain it.
But I think you have to go beyond the basic structure, because, for example, great writers
Mhm.
don't do an outline. Don't go like.
Really?
Well, I think, or in my perspective,
Yeah.
is like you have an idea, you want to write about something, and you start, okay, this is this is that, and you start editing. You start negotiating with yourself what you want to put in, what you want to go.
They do that or don't do that?
They do that.
Yeah, that's what they do. I
Correct.
hate doing that.
You hate that.
I hate that, dude. I can't. I have a friend of mine. I met him in college in a creative writing class, in a screenplay writing class, writing movie scripts,
Okay.
or film scripts, and and he's always he and I've been writing together for years, and he's always editing, and he always says editing is his favorite part of writing and playing around with it. And I'm like, dude, it sucks. I write one draft and I never touch it again, and that's the end of it, dude. I know, and I would actually get worse grades like in school because I'd write essays, I'd write a 5-page essay with one draft and just submit it.
Yeah.
And then I get like an 89 because I randomly typed the wrong word like in the middle of the sentence. I just didn't catch it because I was like listening to music or something like that. It's literally happened.
What's like that randomest word you put into an essay?
It happens when I talk to someone while I'm writing, right? Because I'm writing. Part of my brain is thinking what I'm.
So you like put the sentence.
So I put the sentence what I was talking, what I wanted to say to the conversation. I put it in I put like a random couple of words in the essay. I do it when I text too, by the way. Like if I'm texting you sitting on the couch talking to my wife, I'll either respond to her the word that I'm texting, like be like setting, and she's like what, and I'm like nothing, I don't know, and then, or if I'm texting you like, well, when are you coming movie over?
Of
and I'm
course.
like, wait a minute,
makes sense.
Yeah. So that's the problem with not doing drafts, dude. It sucks. Yeah, but it doesn't happen so often.
Okay.
I don't think.
Just when you're distracted.
Yeah, pretty much, which is a very, very large amount of the time.
Good.
So long, crazy hours, nonstop work, and then
I decided after a year, I decided like maybe this is not the environment I want.
a year's a long time to put up with it.
Yeah, it
When
was.
did you? Were you thinking about? Were you always like since you saw that you're like maybe it'll get better? You're like, oh, maybe
Like
this is
at
tough.
6 months, I thought, okay, maybe I can maybe get a promotion, do something else, like move
Hmm.
around inside the company.
No, they need years for
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
They
That's
want
what
you
I
to put. They want
realized.
you to put in 4 year,
Yeah.
3, 4 years.
And what my problem was because I'm such a people person.
Yeah,
Everybody was on their computers 24/7. Nobody like lunch was everybody at their desks, like just
working
assembled,
through it.
like working through it,
Yeah,
and I hated that.
yeah,
I hate it. I wanted to go out lunch with everybody. I
yeah.
wanted to go grab drinks on a Friday night.
So real estate people do, dude.
Yeah, that's what real estate.
That's what real estate people
So
do.
I thought, okay. Once I was investing, I was sort of thinking maybe real estate could be sort of like a way into my own investing, like learning about the market, learning to do.
Okay.
So that's why I decided to make that
So then you made,
switch.
so then you became an agent.
I became an agent.
That wasn't so hard to do, right?
No, it's just 1 hour exam, the license, and then
You didn't have minimum like schoolwork time.
you have to do I think 63 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you take the course, you do
yeah.
the exam,
Because I did it in New York.
you do it. Oh, you have your
I had one. Yeah, it expired. It was one of the worst experiences. I don't want to say in my life because it wasn't the worst of my life, but it was a tough time in my life too. I was I was so I was getting my English degree, right?
Mhm.
And I figured that it'd be to give myself a better chance to get a better job out of college or any kind of cool job. I would need to use my summers to get a good
Yeah,
internship
to
and
do
like a new
something. Yeah.
field and something that like is relevant. So I could say, oh, I got an English degree for my communication skills or whatever, but I also have work experience,
Correct.
For 2 summers at X,
Yeah,
Y, and
you have
Z.
to fluff your resume.
Yeah. So first summer I worked on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, as a project manager for my a deal my step grandfather was doing,
Okay.
where there was basically like this old government building that was abandoned for a long time, and they bought it out, and they were going to convert it into like six beautiful individual apartments, like multi-million dollar apartments. Crazy.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm on site for the demo part, and then when they're starting to get put like lay down the other I guess the electric and the other wiring that they need and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So I had that experience, and then the next time I was like, okay, now I'll be an agent. Like now I'll be like, okay, I'll get some sales experience, and I'll get my license, and maybe I'll start selling apartments right away,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'll
Right
kill it.
away.
I'm gonna make all this commission money. You know how much money you can close on a commission. So I get my license, and that summer I was I had a girlfriend in college for 2.5 years, and we were like on the tail end of our relationship. Like things started like getting a little harder
Okay.
at that point, and like a month or two into school we broke up. But so we're talking about whether we should get engaged, whether we should get married, and after college, and what am I going to do? What am I going to do for work? How am I going to support? How are we going to support? Like she had a job lined up actually at a Big Four accounting firm,
Okay.
and I was like, I got to get my English degree is not going to be enough to get a job, dude. I got to do this, right? So I get my license, and I was like, and I'll make a ton of money over the summer, and I'll close all these deals. Dude, I didn't close one apartment.
How long?
I was commuting. I was there for 2 months, or a month and a half. I was commuting into the city every single day from my parents' house, which is it was during rush hour. It's like an hour, hour and a half. On the way home, it's an hour and a half, no matter what,
Yeah.
pretty much. And I'm commuting, and I'm spending a fortune to be in the city. Right? You go to lunch, you buy your lunch. You pay for the bus ticket in and out of town. I didn't make a single deal, dude. It was so vicious because I was working aside from the people, that were
Yeah,
making
people are
scheduled appointments and not showing up, or like making an appointment and I get there and they're like, "Oh, I already rented an apartment. Sorry, I didn't tell you." Like, okay, I'm sitting here waiting for you, but okay. Um, then I had to fight with my other agents in my brokerage because they were going for they were just closing any client that walked through the door.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as
It's a
your client.
vicious.
So you're fighting people on all ends, dude. And
Oh.
I was like, if this is sales, I'm never doing sales, dude. This sucks, you know. So that was my 2-month experience, dude. But I let my license expire. I'm like, I'm never gonna use this again. I don't remember any of the information.
Yeah. I
And
did that for a year.
you did that for a year.
I closed 2 deals
Nice.
with
Okay.
friends.
You close leases or sales?
Leases, only leases.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's tough, right?
Very tough. Like, people seem nice when you go, you have these courses. When you hang your license, your broker, like, wants you to come in. Everything is so nice. But when you want to close or when you have a potential client, people would just do anything to get that client.
Yeah, dude.
Which I hated.
I worked with a guy that knew that I was religious, so he would
On Saturdays.
He would schedule my bookings on Saturdays, and then when I didn't show up, he would meet the customer, and he closed 3 or 4 deals like that. Not just, by the way, he happens to be a better salesman than me. I don't know. I would have closed them anyway. I would have, but I do know that he absolutely closed.
Took advantage of that.
Yeah, and listen, it's a dog eat dog world, and you kind of hope. But the truth is that let's say I had like a pretty good experience, let's say I closed 1 deal. I might be incentivized to go try that again for like another year, and I'll be like, "Oh shit, dude, I'm not gonna do this again."
Yeah. I closed my first deal.
Yeah.
My first.
How long did it take?
One.
Oh, your first month.
First month.
You probably felt incredible. You were like, "I could do this all day," right?
Amazing. Like,
wow.
my friend was so happy. We had drinks that night.
Oh man, you celebrate. Yeah, you
celebrate.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal because you don't earn anything. It's not like you go to work, you do whatever you need to do, you come back home, and you get a paycheck.
Yeah.
Here's like, you have no idea if you should still put in the hours. You should still do calls. Maybe on Shabbat that you go on to the temple. You should like take
hit people up, dude.
Your business cards because you don't know.
Dude, I have a friend that did mortgage broker.
Yeah.
And he hangs out by different synagogues. And then when everyone walks in, he doesn't recognize. They're not from Florida. He goes, "Hey, looking to buy some real estate here?" And then, dude, he closed a lot of deals like that.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know how many. Like, I don't know if it's in the hundreds, but even if you close 5 or 6, good deals, that's your yearly income.
Correct.
I mean, especially if you're a mortgage broker. If you're how to work in Florida, they pay the first month's fee.
First month fee. Correct.
Gotcha.
So first month rent goes to half to you and half to the listing broker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not
you could negotiate your way out of it though, right? Because if your agency is a listing broker,
correct. If your agency is, but you always have to deal with that agent.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, he's my client. I've been working on him. We should split because this is my listing, and it's like,
dude, shit. So when I was gonna buy this house, right? I was gonna go into this. Okay, so when I was buying this house, I didn't. I was under contract with another house first on 47th Street, right? So it's a couple blocks over, and it didn't work. And they wanted to do it off market without agents because they wanted to save the money on the agent's fee, right? So I was like, "How do you do that?" And they're like, "Well, if you use a real estate lawyer, you don't need an agent, and the lawyers pretty much know everything anyway, and they can do the negotiating, and you just keep the agents out of it." I was like, "That's such a great idea." Okay,
you just have to pay
just the lawyer. That's it, right? So, so then that deal didn't end up working out. But then when I came to this house, I called the broker, and I said, "Hey, man, I don't have an agent. I'm using a lawyer. Instead of taking 4%, take 2.5%, right? Which is more than what he would have gone otherwise. And then tell the owner to knock off, I don't know, 12, 13 grand, whatever the difference is, off the price."
Correct.
Anyway, so I left him that message. Someone else from his office calls me back. Okay. She goes, "Hi." She goes, "Oh, you got your message. I'm happy to show you the place." I'm like, "Okay." Someone from his office, right? So I'm like, "Okay." So I go to meet, and then she's texting me, "What'd you think of the house? How'd you like the house?" And I was like, It's pretty good. I mean, I have to think about it. We'll see. Asking questions like, do you know how old the roof is? Do you know how old the water boiler is? How old the AC is? Is it public or what do you call it? Septic, the sewage or septic, and then okay, so you want to talk about how much you want to take off from my end for not having an agent? And she calls me. She goes, "I am your agent." I'm like, "You are absolutely not my agent. What the heck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Did I give you the impression that you're my agent?" And she goes, "Well, I showed you the house." I'm like, I left a message for the listing broker. And she goes, "Oh, because he and I work in the same brokerage, but I can still represent you." And I'm like, "I don't want you representing me. I specifically want to get that money back for myself. And I don't need you to do that." Dude,
I'm
she was
telling
like,
you, there's
"Oh, well, I'll just go." She's like, "I guess I'll just go mind my own business." I'm like, I couldn't believe it, dude. I was like, that's, and it's brilliant on her part because I bet she probably talked her way into a lot of deals like that.
Oh, definitely.
So like it's a great strategy as a broker, but it totally defeated the purpose of what I was going for.
Yeah.
So funny. She did for a year.
Okay, yeah, I was there for a year, and the same thing. It's like the people, the environment is just not
Did you learn a lot about real estate?
a lot.
What did you learn about it?
So, for example, how do you evaluate if a house is worth it, if the neighborhood is worth it?
Okay, cool.
And I learned, for example, on all about cash flow.
Cool.
So if you want to rent a property, if you want to buy your property, put it to
Oh, so you learned about investing too.
invest. Yeah, that's my target. Like learn about investing because it's a skill you can always take.
Dude, I have a cousin that works for a big real estate guy
Really?
that's an investor in South Florida, in
Oh.
Aventura, dude.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
He
I'll introduce you to him. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy he works for, I forgot his name, is a big investor, and what I think they typically do is they get funding, they buy big deals, all cash,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Remodel the place.
yeah, and then they typically hold the property for 2 years, and they pay monthly dividends to the investors, and they give the people that work there first dibs.
Okay.
To invest. So my cousin's like I put in, I don't know, whatever amount of $1,000, he gets 5% back every month. He's like, I use that towards like that's income. That's my that's like
That's so smart.
yeah.
It's like the rates, the
The REITs, yes, the REITs, yes,
It's the same concept. It's just like privately instead of
yes,
publicly.
yes, exactly. And you
Oh,
see,
that's
and
so
you
cool.
and you know the people because you work for the the firm.
That's a great
I'll definitely hook you
way.
guys up if you're interested in that kind of thing. Then I'm happy to. I know you just started another job, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah, the other job, exactly.
yeah, but
No, but definitely
you can at
like
least look into it.
learn, like meet new people is always
Totally, and he literally
always
lives around the
good.
corner. I am sure he also lives in Aventura. And I mean,
Okay.
it's got to be around the corner.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you have to live there to know the place.
I almost lived in Surfside for about 5 minutes.
Why 5 minutes?
Because during COVID, so before I graduated college in 2017, 2018.
Okay.
Okay, and I moved back to my parents' house. I couldn't stand it, so I moved to the city. And then I couldn't stand that, so I moved back to my parents' house. And then I couldn't stand that, so I moved to Seattle.
Amazing.
And then I moved back from Seattle, even though I really liked it there. I actually didn't want to move back, but there was no Jewish girls there, and I was single. So I was like, I was like, how long could I be here for and not date
You
anyone?
can have fun and you can date, but
Oh,
you
dude, I
can't.
had the best time.
Yeah, you
But-
can't do anything serious.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
so after a year, I came back, and then I was at my parents' house, and I was like, I can't be here. So I was going to move to. By the way, I love them, and it's not that but I didn't
No,
want to
but-
be. I couldn't be 26 years old, and and
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I feel exactly the same way. I left home at 24, thinking like, if I turn 25 and I still live with my parents, I'm gonna feel like
it's tough.
it's tough. Like for a guy, like in Mexico is a little bit different because the Latin culture is all about family,
Right.
and people would stay there until they're married.
Yeah,
And
then they
even
leave.
when they're married, it's like, okay, every Tuesday night we'll go to my parents' house to have dinner.
Yeah.
And it's like that, and it's normal.
Really.
But for me, it was just like I need life. I
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
experience.
totally.
I need to make my own mistakes, fail, and learn.
Yeah, good for you, dude. Good for you.
Yeah.
Wait, But I think so. You mentioned so. You told me. I think you said at poker night that you were born here.
I was born in Minneapolis. Yes.
You're born in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Are your parents Mexican?
Both my parents are Mexican. Born and raised in Mexico.
And then what were they doing in Minneapolis?
My dad was doing his MBA.
Okay.
In Boston, and then he got a job in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I would think it was General Electric.
GE, sure.
Yeah. So he was an engineer.
Okay.
He did his master's in Harvard, and
Cool.
he got a job.
Wow, no slouch, huh?
Yeah. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, really? Was he tough?
Not my mom is tougher.
Was he tough, like in terms of expectations?
No.
He was just smart.
Yeah.
Like he was
Like,
he's
he'll move around.
easygoing.
He's very easygoing. He's very resilient. Like he moved from Mexico to Boston, from Boston to
By the
Minnesota.
way, I cannot imagine different cultures in Boston and Mexico, dude.
So he said it's so strange.
Wow.
The change, the people.
It's such a culture shock, dude.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
His best friends are from Boston.
Now,
but none of them are Americans. One is from Uganda.
No way.
One is from France. The other one
Wow.
is from Colombia. So it's like people from out of the country,
Mhm.
like they find themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's different. They want to learn things. They're all friendly. Everybody wants to make friends in a master's program.
Yeah, of
make
course.
contacts.
Yeah, totally. Network. So you were born in Minneapolis.
Lived in LA for like 8 years.
LA. Did you like LA?
Loved it, but I was 8. So it was like I didn't do anything.
Yeah, of course. But growing up there,
school.
it could be a cool place. Hey, it could be a cool place to grow up.
Yeah, I still have friends from
Yeah.
LA.
LA is one of the only big cities in America I've never been to. Like,
should go.
name like any other big city you could think of in the States. I've probably been there one way at some point in my life. LA, I just haven't.
It's fun.
I want to go because I love the film and entertainment industry, and that's like the dream place, right? But I also know that I'm gonna be let down, so I don't want to go anywhere near it. Like I know I'm gonna go there and be like, this is what it is. I'm like, fuck, and I'm gonna leave.
There in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
Hollywood, everything. Now it's. I don't know. I think Miami. For some reason, people think Miami is like the new New York, the new LA.
Well, totally, because so many people came from New York to Miami, and I think a lot of finance companies have also been moving to Miami.
A lot of.
I know
right? FIFA is coming to Florida.
Really?
They're gonna build this huge youth center for soccer players.
Okay.
So they really want to develop the youth programs.
That's cool.
And all because of Messi.
All because of him, right?
All because of it, yeah.
By the way, I forgot how much he's getting paid.
Too much.
It's a lot. But I was gonna say, do you think it's a worthwhile investment in that person? Like what he brings to the economy, what he brings.
100%.
You think that he's worth? Let's say he gets paid $200 million.
100%.
He's worth at least that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Look at what happens. Like
Miami changed overnight. Everyone got into soccer overnight.
Everybody got into soccer.
Isn't that crazy?
Sports clubs, soccer is now priority.
Yeah.
Schools is like, okay, we need a soccer field. We need a soccer team.
Yeah.
When before it was all about basketball.
Holy cow. That's one person changes a culture. It's so much.
Yeah.
Like one person. Like, so
it's
fascinating.
Big. It's a bit, yeah. It's a big responsibility. It's a big name.
Yeah.
And the deal.
He seems to handle it pretty well. Like he's not a very public figure. He's just a guy that plays soccer and then goes home.
Yeah.
So that's good. I think
about it. Like all his life, I don't know the guy.
Yeah.
like all his life living in Barcelona, like you go out to the street, people know you. You're a big name. Like I think he's used to all this.
You're saying he's used to the hype, yeah. And he's already.
100%.
How old is he? He says
30, 36, 38.
He's towards the end close to the end of his career.
100, yeah.
How long do soccer players usually play for? When do they usually retire?
Well,
baseball players can play till 60, dude.
No, 30s. I think it's starting to come down. 36 is when they start to retire.
So it's already getting like you lose your legs. I bet at like 36.
100%. Did you see him in the World Cup?
No.
Okay, doesn't matter.
I mean, maybe. By the way, I probably did. I just don't remember.
Doesn't matter. Like, he doesn't run anymore. He doesn't do what Messi did in Barcelona. But he's such a good player that he has this
Doesn't need
high
to.
IQ. Yeah.
Yeah,
He knows
it's
where he
IQ.
has to be.
It's dude.
He doesn't have to run back to
It's
save
instinct.
the goal.
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's IQ. It's instinct. It's so much, dude. This.
And now he's playing with friends in Inter Miami, earning what he earns.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to run anywhere.
Yeah, he just stands in one spot and scores goals, dude.
Exactly.
You know that LeBron has been in the NBA for a lot more of his life than he hasn't been?
Wow. I did not
Like,
know
when
that.
he retires, he will have spent more than half of his life in the NBA. He started when I think he was 17 or 18, and I think he's 37.
It's insane. Like, people throw shit at LeBron.
And he's incredible.
He's incredible.
He's insane. He's so, you know who hates LeBron? Kiwi hates LeBron. He hates LeBron, dude.
Why?
I don't know why. He gets mad about it. Dude, on this podcast, one of my first episodes I did with Kiwi. I get him on, we're on Zoom, I'm in New York, he's here, and we're both drinking. And I say LeBron's name, he goes, "Fuck LeBron." I'm like, dude, why? And he's like,
I think he's at a point where
dude, he still dominates the NBA. Like, you can't say that he's not a top player in the league still, and everyone wants him, and he could play against almost anyone, and he's 37.
Exactly. It's weird how at 37 you're considered like old.
Yeah, I know.
Like, your career is done.
I know,
You're
dude.
trash.
Dude,
It's like...
I'm afraid to play basketball now, dude. People like Kiwi ask me to play every week, and every week I'm like, I want to, but I can't. Like, you know, do you play basketball?
I do. I suck.
Okay, gotcha.
Because Mexicans don't play basketball.
Do you play soccer?
Soccer.
Okay, so I'm sure you feel experience if you don't play soccer for a long time. When I don't play basketball for a long time, I feel like my entire body is like out of sync,
dysfunction.
You know, like why are my legs moving at that pace? And my arms are like doing something else entirely, and I'm like, I'm trying to dribble like while like my legs are moving too quickly, and I'm like, shit, like I just left the ball behind. But like I know I'm better at basketball than that. It's that my head is somewhere is my head and my instincts are somewhere, and then the way my muscle memory is just
trash
somewhere else, dude. Just another place. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it happens. I play paddle a lot, paddle tennis.
Oh yeah,
competitive. I like it, but
how'd you start playing that? But you say you play all tennis sports, right?
All tennis.
Tennis, ping pong.
Well, not.
You don't play ping pong?
Like, I play ping pong with friends.
Gotcha. But not competitive.
Not competitive.
And then pickleball. Do you play pickleball?
I do play pickleball.
And you like it?
Yes and no. It's a weird sport.
What about it?
Like, I don't know. I still don't understand the point system. Like, you can't score a point if you're not serving.
Yeah, that's like volleyball. With volleyball, if it's not your serve and then you score, you don't get the point. You get the ball, but you get the ball, the opportunity to score. Hang on, pause it for a second. I'm gonna have to pee. 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
One. Sorry about that. Cheers. Now that I got it all out of my system. So we're saying, you play competitive, paddle tennis.
Yeah.
And what's competitive mean? Like a league?
League tournaments.
Really?
I want to start like traveling to tournaments.
No way.
It'd be fun.
What's that world like?
It's
how old is that? Like how old are the players, or is there an average age?
No, so because it's a very young sport, like they didn't even put it in the Olympics. It wasn't.
Yeah.
They weren't invited. It's not big enough yet.
Okay.
But you meet new people. Everybody.
But what kind of people are playing? Like
from kids 16, 17 to players to 60 and over.
Really?
Yeah, people play like it's for some reason in Latin America, it became so big. It started in Mexico.
How different is it than pickleball? Super?
Yeah, super different.
Okay. Totally.
Think about tennis,
Yeah.
like the tennis court,
Mhm.
but then put walls around it, and you can use the walls to bounce off the ball.
So it's indoors.
It's indoors and outdoors. It just doesn't have a roof.
Okay. Gotcha. That's cool. Really? It doesn't have a roof.
So you can bounce the ball off the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun.
That's really
A
cool.
lot of fun.
How'd you get introduced to it?
For the Maccabi games, the Israel Maccabi games,
Mhm.
they came to Mexico in 2019.
That was one of the games?
Yeah, I thought, hey, you know what? I want to go into paddle. It looks like fun, so I
Mhm.
started to train.
No way.
And I got
You found a
so
gym?
hooked.
What'd you do? How'd you find one?
My grandparents put a court in their house because my grandfather decided, hey, I want to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
But the tennis court doesn't fit, so he found a paddle court.
Wow.
And he's like, this fits,
That's
and we
so
can play
convenient.
tennis. So we started playing paddle, but with tennis rackets
Mm-hmm.
because we had no idea.
What is the regular racket smaller than tennis racket?
Smaller, and
Yeah.
it's made out of this foam sort of, so
Okay.
it's softer.
Okay.
But we started to play with tennis rackets, and
Yeah.
then we figured this is not right.
It feels
it feels weird.
Okay.
So we got the paddle rackets. So we started playing. We started inviting coaches, and I really got hooked into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to train for the Maccabi games.
See, did you play?
The Maccabi games, yeah.
You did?
Yeah. This year I didn't.
Get out of here.
Because it's so expensive.
Oh, it's expensive to go?
To go. The trip.
They don't pay for it?
No.
What the heck, man? Why
You have
not?
to pay because the Maccabi games, you have to pay for it.
No.
It's a charity.
Dude. They could get backers. Are you kidding me?
Israel goes to the Maccabi games.
Yeah, you know what? Write them a $36 check. But they're
Put like 3 zeros after.
how big are these games? How many people come to them?
To the Maccabi games?
Mm-hmm.
I think in Israel, I think they're the second largest sports events in the whole world after the Olympics.
Really?
Yeah.
In Israel or just in general?
In Israel.
Oh, in Israel.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's competitive. It's countrywide.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So how were you able to try out, for Team Mexico?
Team Mexico. They didn't have a team. Everybody was 45 and older.
Get out of here.
And I decided, I'll do the open.
No way.
And it was so hard.
Really?
You have these Argentinians, the Spaniards that they play. That is their sport.
Okay.
Apart from soccer, everybody plays paddle.
And you've been playing this for a year when you started playing?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I merged from tennis, so I still had the tennis thing. And it was all weird. So I did terribly. I lost every game.
Holy crap. Okay.
But I love the sport.
That's so cool that you did that, dude.
Yeah. It was a great experience.
Wow. But it was expensive. Where was the games?
In Mexico.
In Mexico.
Yeah, in Mexico. So that's why it's okay, let's do this. We're part of the Mexican Jewish community.
Did you watch the UFC Mexican this past fight at the Sphere?
No, I didn't see it.
The whole thing was Mexico. It was an ode to Mexico. It was all Mexican themed, Mexican folklore, Mexican cities and stories, and they're all pretty much all Mexican fighters.
I still have to get into fighting.
Dude,
it's a sport I have not.
So this weekend is a big UFC fight this Saturday night.
This
Saturday night.
Today? Oh, sorry. I thought today was Saturday.
No.
Next week.
As in, in 6 days from now.
Yeah.
Right. You come to watch. First of all, it's always a fun time because we order food and we smoke and we'll have beers and then and everyone watches and even if you don't know the sport, you're just invested with everyone else. It's a community event. It's fun. Yeah, exactly.
Fighting it out.
But they also give they do a really good job telling before the fights they have little video stories about who the guys are and what this fight is to them, right? So one guy could be working his way for a title fight for the first time. One guy, it could be defending his belt. Okay. And and then to get you as the crowd invested in it, they tell you a story about the fighters.
Yeah, which is Mexican, really cool. I have to watch boxing every time El Canelo Alvarez plays or fights. So he's the Mexican boxer. Okay. So is
boxing a big sport in Mexico?
Because of him.
Yeah. Oh, really? He made it big.
Yeah. People, it's do you watch Formula One?
No, but I don't.
Doesn't matter. So there's this Mexican driver who's really good,
Mhm.
and
All of Mexico's in there now.
Yeah, because he represents Mexico.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of big sport names.
No,
So
no.
when one guy is like,
How's your soccer team? They're tough.
2014 was the best team I've seen Mexico play
And how'd they do?
in Brazil. They lost against Brazil. In
Brazil's always good, right?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is Brazilian. They speak Portuguese there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's from Brazil. I always get Brazil and Argentina confused. Yeah, you're lit. My aunt's from Argentina. Or Argentina. Argentina. They call me my cousin Benjamin.
Yeah, the J is not J, it's the Jota.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me, but it's cool. So you were LA till you were 8, and
Then Mexico.
and then Mexico. So then, are you both your parents from Mexico City?
Correct.
Cool. Gotcha. So they moved back to Mexico City. Why they decide to move back?
Family. It's just easier when you have kids. It's just easier to be with grandparents, their cousins, this, that, friends. The community is so much more
Tight knit.
tighter. All their friends are from Mexico,
Right.
so it's.
And I met your brother. How many other siblings do you have?
I have one sister who's 24. She's
Okay.
also working, and a brother who just started college.
Yeah, I met him. You brought him to poker.
He came to poker.
That's right.
He's dying to come back.
Oh yeah, he had a good time.
He said, "I can't believe I lost to all 30-year-olds."
Dude, first of all, I'm not 30 yet, but I'm so bad at poker, dude. That. But I think you guys were rushing. Oh, no, you bought back in. You didn't rush.
I bought back in.
You lost and bought back in, and then I think you
lost,
won.
and then I got my $20 back.
Yeah.
But he lost everything.
Yeah.
He started smoking, and he just forgot.
Yeah,
about the
dude.
game.
It throws everything.
Great time.
Shit, throws everything off, dude. Ow.
You okay?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Oh, yeah. It was just some of the cigar ash. Are you guys close?
Mm-hmm.
All your siblings? Where did your sister live in Mexico or here?
Mexico.
So you're the only one that came here.
I'm the only one that decided to leave.
But you're a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. That's why it's so easy to,
It's easy to go back and forth.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, like, looking for new jobs, changing, like...
Right, so you did real estate for a year, then you had this job.
I had this real estate for a year, and now I sell marble slabs.
You can make a lot of money doing that. Do you do commercial or residential or both?
We do everything. So we do commercial and we do residential. But I'm part of the administrative team.
Can you make commission if you get deals?
I could, 50%.
Dude, you should hit the people that you know from real estate.
Yes.
The building managers or whatever, and just say, I'll give you, even if you give them a third X amount off of your 50%, just to get them in the door and get them to be your customers might be worth it, dude.
So I've been there for 6 months. So it's been sort of like readapting, learning the team, learning their structure. But definitely I'm part of the administrative team, but my main title is office manager, which is, you do the basic office manager things. But I go into event planning. I go to
Do you like it?
Operations. I love it.
Because that's more social.
Dude. That's my thing.
You didn't want to go back to biotech?
I don't know. I really don't know.
No?
Because it all depends.
What did you like when you were studying in college? What were your classes like? Was it
hard?
Were they like in the lab a lot building things and like based on that, or is it more like learning in the classroom?
So my first 3 years in classroom, all about you do antibodies, you learn about how the body works, anatomy, chemistry, biology.
Oh shit, dude!
Thermodynamics, which I hated.
Really?
It was so hard. I had one class called Equilibrium Balance of Thermodynamics at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my goodness!
There is no way I learned anything.
Did anyone do well in that class?
No.
No one did well.
Everybody, there's always this one girl.
And also, why do they start at 7 o'clock? Why do they start such a difficult course at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Because the teacher works. She doesn't only teach. She does this as a part-time, and she has her own projects.
You know what? Good for her, because was she a great teacher?
She was a great teacher, because even though, like, she knew it was tough, like, she'll put projects on us. She'll do really challenging things.
Mhm.
But it wasn't like she'll always take character over skills. So even though you were struggling,
Yeah.
like she'll reach out to you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I had one exam that I just did. I bombed it so bad. And she called me like, "Hey, I know. I just wanted to tell you that you failed the exam, but I want to talk to you and see what we can do because I want you to pass the class. And I know you
That's awesome.
came
That's a great teacher.
a great teacher."
That's a great teacher. By the way, and you could you're able to tell right away that she's going to be a great teacher when someone teaches part time and they work full time. It just means because they teach because they have a passion for it.
Exactly.
Right, like if she doesn't need to teach and she like no one teaches a 2 hour class. You know how many days a week was it? 3 days a week.
2 days a week.
Yeah, no one teaches 2 hours 3 days a week to make an extra couple of $1,000s. They do it because they love it. Like they do it because
And
like
at 7 a.m.
yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. That's really
She
cool.
was a great teacher, and she was the only teacher that actually cared. Like
Yeah.
you could see that care in it. Like she knows it's a hard class. She knows it's not only you take this class. You have to do thermodynamics 1, thermodynamics 2, all the chemistry and biology, and then you take like this.
Oh, that's like the culminating class.
Yeah. Which is all about projects which is all about real life experience or real life.
So you had to have
topics.
really done well on everything in order to get that.
Correct.
Shit,
It was tough. It was really, really tough.
that's crazy. And you did it though.
I did. I passed.
And did you like it? Did you like what you were
Thermodynamics
learning?
or my
No,
career?
just what you were learning, like what you were doing in college. Did you like what you were learning? You
I
felt
loved it. So when the pandemic hit, I
how many years? What year were you in college when the
it was
pandemic hit?
my junior. So I did 5 years. So
Okay.
engineering in Mexico is 5 years.
Okay.
So it was my senior and post senior.
Gotcha. Okay,
'Cause
so the last
you're-
2 years of school.
Correct. So you have your senior year, which is like the culminating of everything you learned, and then your senior year is all about projects and going
Gotcha.
to the lab and doing experiments and doing everything.
Sure.
The problem I had is all the experiments we had to do them at home. So it was
Excuse me. Because of COVID?
because of COVID. So all my lab, all my reports, everything were home based. So it was pretty sad. Like to do all the theory, and
Wow.
then when you get to do the lab,
You were miserable.
miserable. I hated it.
It's tough, dude.
I had,
And
my-
were you were home with your family?
with my family. So for example, all my microbiology classes or
Mhm.
the experiments, I had my Petri dish
Yeah.
in my fridge
Wow.
with bacteria.
Wow, that's so funny. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How did Mexico treat COVID?
Pretty badly. Because we're a third world country, we had, all these problems with the vaccines. There were no vaccines. The vaccines they sell were the AstraZeneca, which at first was really,
What's
really
this?
bad.
What does that mean?
AstraZeneca is the other vaccine company.
Oh, it's the
So it's-
manufacturer.
Yeah, the manufacturer.
And the Mexican manufacturer?
No, it's I think it's Chinese or
Really?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Or I think Russian.
But you guys didn't get Moderna or Johnson
So
and
we didn't
Johnson
get
or anything?
Nothing until like a year later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. When during COVID, let's say, I think this is probably 2021. Let's say it was 2021. It was probably April 2021. April and May. My friend and I just got the vaccine. And we're free. We're able to travel.
Mhm.
We could do anything we want. We could go anywhere we want. We went to Ireland, right?
Yeah.
And we were looking up whether or not and my friend is I don't do planning. I go somewhere.
Just go.
I go and I'm like, what's there to do? And I just try I find
What's the plan?
yeah. What is there? Is there a brewery? Is there water nearby? Is there a place to get some bud?
Where are we going to drink?
What are we doing? So, so my friend Google. So my friend is like, no, we have to know what. If it was up to me, you'd get off the plane. You'd be like, I have to find a hotel. That's the way that I.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the way I go about the trip. So my friend is like, we're not doing that. So he he does the planning and he enjoys planning. And before he did, he was looking up okay, because of COVID, I wonder how open Ireland is. Do you think there's anything to do? Do you think the bars are open? Do you think it's still in the middle of COVID? America was just getting the vaccines, but but like the world was still kind of adjusting to like post vaccines, like how to open up. So he goes, "Oh, good news! Because if you have proof that you have the two shots, then you could then you could go to bars." I'm like, awesome. So we book this trip, get all hyped. You find the best, we Google the most hopping bars and like the coolest places around Ireland, and like where do we have to go in Galway and Dublin, and and we get there, and Ireland was like a year behind America on getting vaccines, so no one had it. So the bars were empty. We were able to go. We were the only ones sitting in the bars. We're like, this place sucks. We're like sitting there, like Dublin is shut down. Where's everybody? And then we go. You know what? Screw this. Because the streets were still packed. We were confused. We didn't know. I didn't know where everyone was. If you want some tequila, stuff. And we didn't know where everyone was in the streets, but we didn't know where everyone was going. And then you realize they were just hanging out in the streets, drinking in the streets. Like, because if they weren't allowed into any establishments, they'll just hang out outside the establishments, hang out in the streets. Dude, a 4 or 5 piece band set up in the street. Everyone is drinking Guinnesses and the bar's outside, right? And this band is playing a free concert. 5-piece band in the middle of the street in Ireland. A bunch of Irish people are just jumping on top of each other. Everyone's partying. And we're like, this is pretty awesome, but like we're so dumb for like our entire itinerary is like based on bars and no one's gonna be in. Like now we have to find like a whole new plan, which I was okay with, but it's very funny. It's very funny. But that's what happens when you're COVID. When you get the vaccine, when you have the mobility, when you got the vaccine before everyone else did, like you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So
in Mexico,
yeah,
we didn't have the vaccine, but people would travel to Miami, to Houston, to LA, to New York
to get it. Yeah, I was in. I used to go when I was single. I used to go to Orlando a lot because I found during COVID, I was living with my parents. I forgot to tell you about Surfside too. To get back to Surfside. So I was living with my parents, and I was able to, and I travel for work. I used to travel for work a lot. I used to, because we saw machines. I'd go meet the clients. I'd go deliver the machine. Sometimes I would either drive it, or if it's like a laptop, I'd fly it down just to meet them and just to be able to get out and spend some time in another city, right? Make connections, network. So any excuse I'd have, I'd go to Orlando. I'd go and then if not, I'd do it out of pocket myself, if it wasn't a business expense. But I found a 4-star hotel that was like $70 a night. It's called the Delta Lake Buena Vista.
Okay.
And it was down the block from Disney Springs or downtown Disney. And downtown Disney, 7 nights a week, has probably 10 or 15 different live music performers at any given point with, bars and just a great time. So I used to go by myself to Orlando during COVID, pay $75 for a 4-star hotel, work from the hotel, go to the gym, go for a swim, and then at night go get drinks and listen to live music for like 3-4 hours. I was doing it all by myself too. It was pretty crazy.
Okay.
But while I was there, there's an Irish pub I'd go to, and this guy Shane Farrell is an awesome. He played the guitar, the mandolin, the flute, and the banjo, all in one night. Like he had the instruments lined up,
and he'll go.
And what he does, he has something called what's called a looper for music. So like let's say like you play a guitar, you play rhythm,
Such a good
and then it
skill.
keeps on playing, and then he'll put down the guitar, pick up his mandolin or pick up his banjo, and then play the banjo, but his music is still looping.
Of course,
dude.
Like he'll be one
So
man band.
he was incredible. He is incredible. He still plays, and but while I was there, I probably met 10, 15 people above the age of like 50 that were from other countries that were in Orlando, in America to get the vaccine, because it was so hard to get it in Canada or Mexico or England or Europe or whatever it was. I'd meet all these people there. They were like, I'm like, what are you doing here? You're on holiday? You're on vacation? They'd be like, yeah, we're here to get the COVID shot. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, it's not available yet, and we need it. We need it to be able to get around. We need it to be able to live our lives and see our kids and see our grandkids. So they'd fly to Orlando, make a little vacation, get the COVID shot, and then fly back to their country and just be able to do whatever they wanted.
Exactly. That's sort of what happened in Mexico. People would go get the vaccine somewhere else, and until it was available, then people stopped traveling.
Right.
But In the States, I know they put sort of like a 65 and older can get the
Priority list, yeah.
So my grandparents like first ticket to Miami. Let's go. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And during the pandemic, we lived in my grandfather's lake house,
Okay.
and we were like 20 people.
Nice.
We did this.
No way. It's like a whole family.
Cousins, uncles, my parents.
That's so much fun.
It was so much fun. It was like being this huge family all together.
Wow.
It was sort of like our own little bubble.
Yeah, totally.
Nobody had COVID. Nobody left outside.
You just hung out all together.
Yeah,
that's so nice. Wow.
But when I lived there, like I did all my the biotech experiments, all that in the lake house,
mm-hmm.
and I felt so useless. Like thinking, like I can't believe I'm living here and I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I actually got a job, my first job ever in college. I got a job in a university for a project that they wanted to detect COVID using light emission instead of the PCR and instead of using heat.
Cool. Really?
Yeah. So I got the job as an lab assistant.
Okay.
And
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And you'd go to the campus?
I would go to the campus. I would work with COVID, and then I switched. I did that for 6 months, and then the other.
You sound?
No.
Oh, so maybe it's me. Yeah. Okay.
And then the other 6 months, I would actually go to people's houses.
Wow.
And take samples.
Wow.
Take them back to the lab, analyze them.
Did you like that?
Loved it.
It's so interesting because I don't really see a common theme. Like, I don't know what common line there is along your trip, dude.
The people.
That's what it is?
The people. Yeah.
It's the people.
The
team getting out the lighter.
With,
lighter sucks. Yeah. It's okay. I'm listening.
The team I work with, the people who are around me.
I'm listening. Hi. Yeah.
Like.
You just like people. You just like people.
I like people. I like working with people who want to work, who have the same goal, who wants something out of life, and I sort of based all my jobs and all of that towards the people I get to hang out with.
It's so interesting. Is there okay? So that's awesome. That's really cool. Is there any particular industry that ever like spoke to you more, or like feel that like you naturally felt you connected to? Like I feel very connected to music, and I feel very connected to like movies. Like I'm a movie lover, you know.
I think if you asked me a few years ago, I would have said science. Science is my go-to. Science is my thing. But now I have no idea.
You don't know.
I don't know, and I'm figuring that out.
How are you trying to figure it out?
Working. I want to do a master's program.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So like
where, down here?
Or in the States, maybe go to
You're gonna leave Florida, dude?
I would leave Florida.
Oh man.
Not yet, because I really like my job.
Okay.
But it's all about like what can I learn from the people I work with?
Dude, so I think my understanding, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know what other people have told me. How's that? Right? Preface it with that.
Secondhand ideas.
Secondhand ideas. There's a rabbi I used to have, and he was known as like the intellectual rabbi, and like brilliant, really, 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 really smart, and so articulate, so dynamic when he speaks. He never says or like he never stops for a second. Every single word flows perfectly.
So
and he could speak for an hour and a half, and he could do it without saying the word once, or stutter, or just not know what word he's like. He will have everything. Like he's brilliant.
Okay.
So he said, he goes, people think I'm smart. He goes, I'm not really smart. He goes, I'm smart enough to know who smart people are and listen to them and repeat what they say. He goes like, I'm not like. Yeah. I know what my limitations are. I might be like a relatively smart guy, but like I know how to find a smart person and how to learn, like listen to what they're saying, dude. It's crazy.
100%.
But hang on, we have to go full circle. But I forgot what we were just talking about.
The job.
The master's degree, MBA. That MBA is generally used to pivot your career to another from one specialty to another. So, for example, if you were in investment banking for bioengineering, right, and then you wanted to get into the film industry, you take an MBA with a focus on, let's say, film economics, right, or something like that. And then when you network, you come out of school and you're like, okay, I have this concentration that I know that I'm going to pursue, and now I'm using my MBA to network to get my way in, my way in the door. So, what would you study? What would you get your MBA in?
So
If you don't know what if you don't know what it is yet.
It's a great question. Like I thought the MBA was sort of like to get a more sense of like the business aspect of how the
Just
world
general
works.
business.
General business. But
I bet some of those programs are.
yeah, like the normal MBA
You can find a
is-
generalized program.
Yeah, you can do that. But moving around jobs, moving around people, moving
That's a great way to learn.
Florida, like I'm still learning, I'm still young, I'm still like figuring out what I want to do. So graduate programs are still like I want to do it, maybe not this year or maybe not next year.
Yeah.
So, but definitely.
Well, you should. I mean, if you can afford to, you should try as many different jobs as you could.
Exactly.
Because if you can, if you're making a living anyway, and you can still kind of keep on dipping your toe in different waters to see where what's best for you. What other industry would you do, like a management type job for like a sport team?
Oh, would love to.
Dude, why don't you apply for a management type of job to one of these places, to like the Inter Miami team or whatever? I'm sure they're always hiring. I was able to connect with a couple of people from the Miami Heat that work for the Miami Heat, and I just sent them I found the email format. I said I want to connect. Hi, I'm looking to get involved, and I want to hear about your job and your experience. And again, I got a little bit of a lower response rate because I wasn't an alumni and I didn't have anything in common necessarily that they would want to waste their time with me, quote unquote. But I spoke to I think 3 or 4 people that work for the NBA in the Miami Heat that were telling me what to do to get either send my resume and whatever, or I think that if you fix your resume to look like this or pursue this type of job, then that will set you up for what this kind of role would be.
That'd be
And
really
they give me
interesting. Because
yeah.
it's sort of like a hidden passion, like sports, fantasy.
And it's so weird that they have to be hidden. It's so weird that like we don't think of them as professional, but like they make so much. Dude, they make more money than doctors. They have a lot of fun, dude. Yeah, they have a lot. But think how much money basketball generates. Think how much money soccer worldwide generates. I mean, it's crazy. So like, why is that not professional? Why is you working for a soccer team not prestigious? Look how much value it has.
I've never thought about like that in a way. So what I do now is sort of like I met my manager out of a convention, or my brother met him at a university convention where he wanted to bring somebody from Mexico to come work because it's a Mexican company.
Cool.
And he wanted to bring somebody to be.
Oh, your brother met him?
Yeah.
And he told him about you?
Yeah,
Nice.
Look,
Good brother,
I just
dude.
started college, but I have a brother living in Miami looking for a job here.
Wow. Crazy. Good for your brother, man. That's just something about his personality, too. That's really nice.
Honestly, yeah. It was pretty crazy how that job just came into my life. And I said, okay, let's try it out. It's something new. It's different. It's nothing to do with biotech.
Do you like it?
I love it. And it's because of
people.
the environment.
You like the people.
Yeah. I have things that in my job, like I hate to do. Like I still do, like I do client experience. That's one part of my job, which is if a client comes into the showroom to look at marble slabs, what do we offer him? Cup of coffee, a drink, some water. When he enters or when that person enters is like, what do they see?
Yeah.
Like the logo, they see a receptionist, they see some. So I have to sort of think of.
Dude, you got to listen to some cool like psychology of marketing.
I have to listen. Exactly.
Dude,
so now
there's so many things.
There's so many things.
It's so brilliant.
Yeah. So I'm learning, marketing. I'm part of the operations team with inventory and the warehouses.
Sure.
I'm part of sales.
Right.
So now they don't have a database. So this is the biggest problem in the company. They don't have a database for their existing clients.
Ooh.
They have so
events
No
that they
QuickBooks,
plan.
no nothing.
Nothing. They
How
have it
do-
on an Excel platform, and then if that person who did the Excel leaves the company, that Excel ceases to exist.
Oh my God.
So I saw this problem. They hired somebody to come in as a sales manager, and now I'm working with the sales manager to create this database.
Wow, because you're like, that's crazy. You don't have one.
It's crazy we don't have it, and they've been here for 4 years.
Wow.
So they lose, top clients. Yeah, perfect. We invite them to dinner. We invite them to happy hours. We do a paddle tournament with our clients, but only our top clients. How many people, as a salesperson, how many people can you keep track of and really invest your time in?
Dude, I cannot tell you how few returning customers I have from in a business sense on a regular basis. I think, and I'm not exaggerating, it's anywhere between 5 and 10%.
It's nothing.
That's nothing, dude. 95 out of 100 sales that I close are with new are 95 new customers.
It's crazy.
Maybe even more than that, by the way.
Yeah. I learned the system where it's called the ABC system, where you have to categorize your clients by A, B, and C. Your A clients are the ones their birthdays, the ones you go out to dinner with, the ones that you really want to harm them every single time.
My dad bought a car from his customer to keep him happy.
Exactly. Business.
I was like, what do you need this car for? He goes, he wanted to sell it, and he said he didn't know anyone that would buy it, and I'm his hero right now.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're crazy.
Yeah, you want to keep
It's smart. Yeah.
So then you have your B clients. Your B clients are those that came into the showroom, bought a material for a small project, and you have them in your back pocket, but they don't call you. You don't call them. It's just
if they need something, they know you.
Exactly.
But if they need something, they know you. But you're not keeping up with me.
Correct. So maybe it's not going to be you. It's going to be somebody else.
Right.
And then you have your C clients that they just came in, bought one thing one time because they liked it, and zero contact. You have no idea where they are. You don't know if they want to do more projects with you. There's no follow-up. So once you start categorizing who these are, you start realizing how much business or how much profit you're gaining out of your A clients.
Yeah.
And basically, your A clients give you your 80%.
Yeah, I was going to say, we spend, that's right. 20% of your clients bring 80% of your revenue.
Exactly.
And 20% of your time, and 80% of your productivity comes from 20% of your time. That's the other thing, which is really interesting about people. You notice that you don't remember most of your days, most days?
Correct.
You forget majority of your life.
Yes, 100%.
Other than
just
maybe 20% of your life. You probably remember 20% of maybe, probably 20% of your life.
You don't have that much.
Think about how many years you've lived. You lived 26 years. I lived almost 29 years, dude. I don't remember 29 years.
Yeah, no. I don't even remember what happened last Monday.
Yeah, dude. Seriously. So when I was living in the city for a couple of months, I was trying to do this thing at the time. The things you do when you're trying to get over a breakup. I was trying to figure out the best way to just live my everyday life, right? Just the best way to be most feel best about myself. And one of the things I was trying to do was, if you came to me on a weekend, came to me on Saturday and said, "How was your week?" I'd be able to tell you one thing I did for every for the entire week before that. Sunday I went to the park. Monday I, spoke to my grandparents, and that stood out to me. Yeah. Tuesday I went for drinks with friends, and I should be able to tell you one specific, unique, conscious thing that I did every day. That down? No, I just try to remember it. Just try to because every day is so easily routine. You wake up, you do whatever work in whatever fashion, and you eat whatever meals in whatever order, and then you just kind of go home, veg out, and go to bed. Yeah. But if you do one thing that stands out as something you wouldn't have ordinarily done every day, then it makes your week far more memorable. It makes your experience living for that period of time a lot more significant.
That's good. That is a great advice.
But I couldn't do it. I was only able to keep it up for 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, because after that, like you run out of like motivation to like do something new something different every single day. Like it's hard. We're not built for it. We're built for routine.
Yeah, we are routine beings.
Yeah.
No, my sister has this every year. She has her New Year's resolution,
Okay.
which is she has to travel somewhere every month.
Whoa, really?
Doesn't matter. And last year she did it.
She did it.
She did it. She completed it, and it's not only like, hey, I have to take a plane trip.
Yeah.
Like
it could be an hour drive.
It could be an hour drive, but something that takes her out of her routine.
Wow.
Once a month.
Wow.
And I thought it was insane.
That's really beautiful. What did she do? Big trips or small trips or both?
She did both. So she went to Israel for a month.
Nice.
Once.
For a month?
She did do you know the Excel program, Taglit?
No. I know the name Taglit. I don't know.
Yeah, so Taglit is this humongous program which is owned by this multi-billionaire that
Of course.
he wants kids to come to Israel because some Americans don't
Birthright.
Birthright, yeah, birthright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Taglit birthright. Right.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So birthright. So she was part of the Excel birthright program. The
Which-
Excel is business based.
Oh shit! I think my friend did that.
Really?
Actually, he did. Yeah, but he did it probably 4 or 5 years ago.
So she's she did this program. She got accepted.
And it's for a month? It's over the summer, right?
It's over the summer.
Yeah, totally.
So she did, 2 months. Okay, Israel. But being in Israel, she said, I have to travel.
Yeah.
So in Israel, she went to Morocco.
Cool.
And she did all these, like,
Shit. What was Morocco like? Did she like Morocco?
Loved it. Loved it.
Really?
Yeah, loved it. She said, so different. It's just amazing.
Have you gone to like other countries like that? Like
I went
Africa?
to Jordan. I've been to Jordan.
Really?
To Petra.
Okay.
You know, Petra is this monument or where people used to live, where they carved into the mountain.
No way.
Their things. It's amazing. I think it's one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know the other
100%.
ones? I don't even know Niagara Falls, the Great Wall of China. No,
I haven't been. I've been to that. That could be a great New Year's resolution.
To go to the 7
wonders of the world.
Dude, you need like a decade for that, man. Those are big trips. You got to go to the Amazon. Yeah, maybe 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, you could do it in 5 years. You could do 7 wonders. I think one of them is the Panama Canal.
I think it's the old, like they're the old 7 wonders of the world, and then they're
they're newer ones. They're like modern ones, like
yeah.
the We Are the World for Haiti instead of Africa.
I don't know. I know, for example, in Mexico we have one called Chichen Itza.
Okay, what's that?
One of the pyramids.
Oh, okay.
The pyramid is built.
How old are those pyramids?
Ooh, I don't know. Very old. It's with the Mayans.
Like Egypt.
No, Egypt. I think they're
older.
Yeah, 100%.
They're older than Egypt pyramids.
Yeah, older. No, the Egypt pyramids are older.
Oh, than the Mexican ones.
Yeah, than the Mexican. Yeah, the Mexicans should be around the same time when Europe was in their Gothic medieval.
Is there Mexican history that goes as far that far back? How far back does Mexican history go?
It's a great question. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. Mayans, like everybody, it was a tribe. Like Mayans, Olmecas.
Yeah.
Like the Incas in Peru.
Yeah.
Like it's all that area. Like all of those Latin American tribes.
But we don't have like a year or general
I can look it up.
Years that. It's very interesting.
Look, let me show you.
Yeah, tell me. I'm very curious to know.
Yeah. But
did you watch the Coco movie? You loved it. As a Mexican, you loved it?
So, it's so accurate.
It's so accurate.
So, of course not the
yeah,
but
okay.
I would 100% take a trip with you guys to Morelos, Mexico.
Okay.
To just view how El Día de Muertos.
I've never been to Mexico yet, dude. I would very much like to go, by the way.
We should. And the Day of the Dead is this Mexican holiday.
What's hanging out back there?
I don't know.
I think it's a raccoon or a cat, but I saw both in my backyard, dude. I mean, Kiwi's like, don't yell at them. I'm like, dude, this is my house. He's like, it was their house first.
Let them.
Yeah, dude. If I was a regular Florida man, I would shoot them by now,
no,
dude. But
a regular Florida.
If I was a regular Florida man, but I'm still a New Yorker, I guess.
An alligator.
So Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. Everything. The cempasúchil is a flower, orange flower.
the ones in Coco.
Okay.
So they put them all over the cemetery, all over the like these pueblos or the towns,
Okay.
and it's part of celebrating the dead because it's just the circle of life.
That's a big culture thing.
It's a huge culture. Everybody.
Is there an equivalent to it here in America? Like Halloween kind of thing?
No, it's so Halloween.
Is it big?
You get
what-
dressed up.
Yeah.
There,
Well, I
it's
guess there's
just
always
special.
parties and trick or treating and like it's like more a cultural event.
There, you have dinners at the cemetery with the people from your
Shit,
family.
get out of here! Really? Do Jewish people do it too?
Jewish people don't,
Wow,
but it's just part of the culture. It's
that's so fascinating. I don't know why. I don't know what. I wonder what the Jewish objection to that idea would be.
well,
Like we do believe in afterlife. We do believe in that the spirits of our family or their souls are like watching us. Like we do believe that you could do things to like elevate their spirits and their memories.
it's a whole festival, and it's sort of like to commemorate the idea that even if the people or from your family
Crazy,
passed
dude.
away, like you still get to sit down at a dinner table with them,
Wow.
and people would. Like,
Did you mean Dia de
Dia de Muertos.
No,
They-
Morelos.
Morelos is a state of Mexico. That's where like it's big,
Okay, gotcha.
and that's where the whole festival is, and
Right.
it's sort of it's in October as well.
Oh, really?
As Halloween, yeah.
Huh. That's so interesting. So you liked the movie? You thought it was great?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, it's so nice. It's so it's so close to home.
Yeah. Yeah. You like Pixar movies?
I love Pixar movies. The last one I saw.
You watched
it was a few
Soul?
years ago. I love Soul.
Soul was incredible.
It was amazing.
Dude, that was like a perfect. That was close to a perfect movie.
I don't know if it's perfect because it's
Just because it's but like, take away the stigma behind animation, the way that they told the story,
Yeah.
and like the combination of visual entertainment, storyline, and like meaningful
amazing.
values and messaging. I mean, like I can't like it's as good as any movie.
I really like going through that train of thought. Did you see Encanto?
I didn't yet.
Ooh,
That's also Mexican, right?
Colombian.
Colombian.
It's rooted on the Colombian or the Latin family.
Okay.
How everybody's part of this big family.
Dynamics.
Everybody has a role. Everything, and it's sort of like if you are the different one in the family, then you're sort of like the black sheep.
Okay.
And it happens every Latin family has a black sheep.
Is that tough for the black sheep?
It's tough for everybody because you have this high expectation on your role in the family, and if you don't achieve that role,
Wow.
then it's
So much pressure.
It's so much pressure, and that movie shows it in such a beautiful way.
Wow.
It's this
I have to watch
magical house.
Encanto's Disney Studios, though. I don't think it's Pixar, is it?
I think it's Pixar.
Is it Pixar?
I think so. Yeah.
I have to check it.
Well, everything is Disney nowadays.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's Pixar, if it's this, if it's Disney Plus.
Well, right. Yeah, no, but Pixar was a great company. Even like Pixar had their movie style that Disney couldn't match, so they bought it out.
Yeah.
All the Pixar movies came out right after Disney finished their golden age, right? You had The Lion King, you had The Little Mermaid, you had Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast,
Yeah.
Mulan, Hercules.
Such great movies.
Great movies.
Here's a interesting thought. When was the last Disney movie or Pixar movie or one of those cartoons that doesn't have singing in it?
Music or singing?
Singing. Cars.
The Incredibles,
Incredibles.
Finding Nemo.
But these
Most
are
Pixar movies don't.
These are movies from 2005,
By the way,
2008.
Right. So two things, dude.
Toy
First of all,
Story.
So Pixar had rules
Uh-huh.
when they were making movies. Number one, it can't be conventional people.
What do you mean?
No conventional human beings like me and you sitting and talking.
Okay.
It has to be monsters. It has to be superheroes. It has to
Something
be
out of
cars.
the
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. Whatever. Then it can't be a typical love story. They're not like a princess meets a prince and falls in love and whatever. And it can't be a musical. Those are the 3 Pixar rules. You can use music
Such good rules.
because they saw what Disney did, and they saw that Disney was trying to milk it for more than what it was really worth or capable of,
Yeah,
right?
Prince Charming thing. You find your happily ever
Yeah,
after.
exactly. And that everything is, woodland animals singing along with you, right? Which is cute and it's fun. But but they said we're gonna tell. But Disney from like I say 98 to like 2001 or 2 didn't have anything good.
Disney.
Disney did not put out anything really good.
Okay.
Everything was like Toy Story, sorry, not Toy Story, like Lion King 1.5 or Little Mermaid 2 or Tarzan 2 or, like they had a bunch of forgettable movies around then, but they lost their formula.
Yeah.
And then Pixar was coming out with enormous success after enormous success. You had Toy Story and Ants and Cars and Incredibles and Monsters Inc.
The movie that made Pixar. What?
Toy Story.
Toy Story, right?
Toy Story made Steve Jobs a billionaire. Steve Jobs was never a billionaire because Pixar. No, because Apple. He was not. He was rich from Apple. He put $50 million into Pixar to keep it running because he was friends with George Lucas, who and they used George Lucas's original technology and worked on it and then turned it into Pixar. Pixar was a type of computer graphic imaging, I think.
Insane what they did.
And yeah, dude, if you watch a Pixar movie, they start with a black screen, right? Let's say Toy Story. The screen's black. Every detail, all the depth, every shadow, every single blade of grass had to be manually placed there and taken into consideration. So, like, let's say regular animation was usually done against a backdrop of a real life backdrop.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Pixar, when you're coding and it's computer generated, it's just a black screen. You don't get natural shadows. You don't get.
You have to
you have to put it there. So they would have teams of people whose their jobs were to create a real background for the movie scene. So they'd have a scene like today where Woody's running.
Yeah.
They'd have to incorporate the shadows of Woody against the wall and Woody on the floor, right? Because the difference in angle. Yeah, exactly.
My, wow.
Dude, and they
I
would
did not think of that.
yeah, and obviously as technology got better, they were able to take once it was done the first time, they pretty much had like a setting they could use for future times. But it was an enormous amount of work. It was unheard of. And Pixar, they went public as a public company. Then I think the day after Toy Story premiered, and so based on how well Toy Story did or not, Wall Street would value Pixar as a worthwhile company or not. And so when it came out and it did incredible, the stock exploded and Steve Jobs overnight became a billion. He went from sinking $50 million into a company to making $1 billion, dude.
Insane.
So there's an amazing book called To Pixar and Beyond, written by a guy named Lawrence Levy, who was a Pixar CFO when the company went public. It's an amazing book, and it talks about his journey dealing with Steve Jobs, working for Pixar, what everything was like behind the scene, what was going on, and just an incredible book. And then there's another book called Disney War, which talks about Disney company from 1985 to 2005, and all the they bought ABC, right, which was a big deal. They bought ESPN, which was a big deal. They had the whole golden age of Disney, which was a huge deal. They had a new CEO, and then that CEO had to get fired. And, dude, it is just... If you want to learn about the entertainment industry, like, business-wise, it's so cool. It's so smart. And it's so fascinating. Like, you learn how the movie business, like, works. In those 2 books, dude. It's awesome.
I'm going to read those books.
Yeah, I'll text you the name, dude. They're awesome. They're really, really great. Wow. Crazy, dude. Cheers. How's that cigar?
Amazing. Thank you.
You're not. I hope you're not inhaling them.
No,
inhaling it.
I know how to smoke a cigar,
dude. When I talk to people, I get so excited when I'm talking to them. I end up inhaling, and I get sick. I puke. I pass out. I get like that terrible head high. It's just the worst, dude. It's the worst feeling, man.
Because we're used to.
Yeah, first of all, because you're used to inhaling differently. You're not keeping it in your cheeks, or you're pulling to your throat. But also, like when I'm excited and I'm talking to someone, I'm always like breathing, I guess, because I'm talking so much that it just happens, dude. It happens. So, do you have plans to go back? Thank you. Right. Do you have plans to go back to Mexico anytime soon?
I'm going on Tuesday
Oh, right. You told me.
for Rosh Hashanah.
Oh shit! And you said you're gonna be gone on the 6th, right?
I'm really going to be gone.
So you have to find a place to watch UFC there,
I have to find a place.
dude. Go with your. Are you gonna be with your brother?
Yes, you
Go with your brother. Find a sports bar Saturday night. Is Mexico City safer than like Tijuana?
100%.
Yeah. Different worlds.
You just have to find.
I told you, my customer.
You can't talk to people that you shouldn't talk to people.
My customer told me he lives in Tijuana. He told me he's like people don't leave their houses. They maybe leave their houses once a day to get everything done what they need as quickly as possible.
Oh no.
And they just go back home and they just stay home.
No. Here it's much more free. Like I'll go out to clubs. I'll go out to bars. Yeah. I won't walk at night.
You won't
ever.
Really.
Like even if a friend lives right nearby,
you'll drive.
It's like 8 p.m. I would not. I would
really
drive or take an. Yeah.
Wow. Because you need to.
Because it's not safe. Like you don't know who's gonna walk by. You have no idea. Like there've been cases of kidnapping. There've been cases of murdering. There've been cases. The craziest story I've ever heard was right near my house. There's this bridge, and people like hung from. Yeah.
Did you meet my friend, my buddy Herman?
No.
He came. Maybe he came to poker one time. He's Venezuelan. Great dude. He lives on 37th, right across where I used to live. Remember my old house?
Yeah.
So he was my neighbor, and he's in the seafood and vegetation import export business, mostly import. Mm-hmm. So he had a plant. So he told me that he has plants all over, South America, and then he opened one in Mexico. He told me he was supposed to be in Mexico for 2 weeks, and ended up staying for 2 years. Is how long it took him. But he said that he would go to these small little cities, mm-hmm. and that the way that you knew the cartel ran the town was that they would leave a body hanging from like a building, mm-hmm. and like that was like he was like he got to the town. He was like that's how you know. Like you don't go to the cops. You don't do like it's the cartel. Like you just.
So Mexico has this big problem where the cartel is so powerful that there's no way around it. It's from.
How come they don't run the government then?
Why what?
How come they don't run the government?
They do. Of course they do.
They just don't formally do it.
Yeah, of course.
But why don't they? Like, who's to stop them?
Because.
Who's to stop the head? Well, I don't even know who the head of cartel is. Whoever the head of cartel.
Because the states is neighbors.
Oh, that the states would get involved. You think?
Of course. There was one time they got so bad recently, a few years back, that there was this whole negotiation if they categorized the cartel as a terrorist group, allowing the states to militarily come in and take control.
Wow.
And Mexico didn't want to.
Right.
So
do you think it would have been better if they did?
I don't know. Maybe.
It never. Unfortunately, whenever the U.S. does that, it never turns out better.
It never turns out better.
It never turns out better.
No. You think the states is going to come in, but then there's restriction, then there's no freedom of trade, then there's no democracy, then there's nothing.
Well, there's not much of that if the cartels are on the show anyway.
In a certain extent, but in Mexico City, so the government is not fully controlled. But think about what the whole economy is based on: drug export, gun import. Sex trafficking, everything, moves money around. So it's not going to be public, but
right,
getting into this problem, maybe it's just bigger than what we would expect.
Right.
Think about thinking about Israel. You thought, okay, we'll go into Gaza, we'll take out the hostages, and we'll just Gaza. But then Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, everything is connected.
Yeah.
So it's such a big problem.
You're pulling out, it's like the Django game, where you pull the brick, and if you don't pull it right, then the whole building comes collapsing down. It's crazy. Yeah.
Because, everybody's involved.
Right. Right. What's Mexican politics like?
They suck.
Are they crazy?
Yeah. we had this president who is still president.
The Jewish woman.
So now it's a Jewish woman, but last year for 6 years we had this guy, really old guy, who's very socialist, who canceled the freedom of trade, or it's not the freedom of trade, it's the energy policy, where before Peña Nieto, he was from 2000. He was the president between 2000. I'm gonna say 2016 to 2018. So he did this reform where the energy was going to be available for foreign investors. So Shell, Mobil,
Sure.
BP.
He got rid of it?
He got rid of it.
Why?
Because before
he wanted, was his political argument to like give the jobs to Mexican companies as opposed to American companies?
So he got rid of that. The energy company was only Mexican based.
Oh, he opened it up for everyone else to come in.
Correct.
Right.
And this guy closed it. So all the energy companies went down. People left, or companies left Mexico.
Gosh, yeah.
So it was a big problem. Now, the energy companies, now they're seeing like the repercussions where...
What energy does Mexico offer?
From renewable... We have a tiny renewable energy company, but renewable sector. Mm-hmm. Then we have a big natural gas.
Natural gas.
I
guess you're right. Texas order, right?
Yeah.
Texas.
Because in the Gulf of Mexico, it's where all the...
Oh, it's a lot of oil.
A lot of oil.
Does Mexico do business with Russia? Or not as far as
yeah, most probably.
Probably.
Not a lot, but we can, but I think the States has something there.
Yeah, sure.
Like they need to control something. Because you can't have Russia.
It's so funny how little I know about Mexico, dude.
What?
It's funny how little I know about that place.
You should come.
I want to check it out. I really do. It's an hour and a half, 2 hour flight, dude. You're going for Rosh Hashanah?
I'm going in December as well, for Hanukkah, if you like. You can come for a weekend. You can come for 4 days.
Maybe I'll convince my wife to let me go by myself. I know how I'm going to do that.
I'll invite you to the lake house.
Yeah, dude.
I'll show you the town. I'll show you the people.
Yeah, I'll figure something out.
How's your Spanish?
Awful.
No.
Yeah, but no español.
No. Living in Florida. No
and I work with 4 Dominicans.
You have to learn Spanish.
It's mucho trabajo. It's a big job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it's trabajo is a job. Abajo is up. Like if you lift.
Abajo, no.
Oh, down.
It's down.
It's putting down. So you say abajo, you put it down.
Abajo is like
caliente, fuego, máquina, sonda is an ultrasound probe.
Yeah.
Garantía is warranty.
Yeah.
Condición.
There you go. So you know a few business words.
Yeah, a few business words. Máquina. Dos máquina, 2 machines. That's all I know, dude. Dude, I would love to learn it. And the truth is, I'm a very experiential learner. Like, I'm not good at just making correlations. I have to, like, experience the way that things work.
You have to live.
Or learn through a story, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm very the way I learn is very context-driven. So it's hard for me to pick up a new language because I need to be, like, immersed in it. Like, I need, like,
But being in Florida, in Miami, like, there's...
Not here, dude.
Well, yeah, you're right.
And the truth is that there's a lot of dealers, like, in my industry that are down here because they deal with South America and Mexico, from South Florida, that I know that I could be, hanging out with a lot more. But they're tough to do business with, dude. South Americans are tough.
South Americans are...
They're I mean, they're great businessmen. That's the thing. Like, they're really tough, So,
because we deal with the government, we deal with society.
Yeah, like there's no such thing as like a price. Like you tell them a price, and they're like, "Fuck that! I'm paying you like, what's better?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what's better? What do you want to pay?" They're like, "Nothing," and I'm like, "Okay, well, we gotta find a middle ground between something and nothing."
Yeah. So, for example, my dad worked for the past 20 years in the renewable energy sector.
Okay.
And you think about, do theoretically, you think of all these problems. You know, maybe the machine doesn't work. Maybe there's no wind. Maybe you have to like calculate all
Sure.
these different factors if you want to set up a hydroelectric plant,
Mm-hmm.
a solar plant, a wind plant. But then there was this problem that I really got involved. That when they wanted to build a dam for to start selling energy, the people living sort of in that area thought they're gonna eliminate like part of the mountain to make this dam, and they're gonna like stop the river, so they would like go on strike,
Mm-hmm.
and they would not allow
Right.
and they would buy the land that my dad's company they wanted to build upon. They would
Wow.
buy it on purpose so they don't
Wow.
build it.
And did they?
Yeah. So did they build it or did they?
They buy it.
So some of them they would go for years on end, with a judge to see this and if who is actually the owner of that
Wow.
land and
Crazy.
everything. So projects would take up 5 years, 10 years. They have one, or they had one in Puebla
Okay.
that just they couldn't even start it because
It's
the
pretty-
land was from the great 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 grandfather, but there's no documents. But
Wow. What do you think about that? You think you should leave it alone like that? Like, what would you do if you were the person making that decision?
so what my dad's company did is they would get along with the people of the town.
Well, yeah,
They
you'd
would
have
go,
to.
yeah, you have to. They would go, they would teach, they would bring food, they would do things so that town would understand what they're doing.
Right.
They would invite them to the office. They will pay the trips, everything, so
Sure.
they understand what's going on. Because for them, it's totally new. Like they're building this and they're going to destroy that, but they have to learn that this is beneficial for them because they're going to have electricity.
Right.
But there was always problems, always.
Wow.
I remember once we went to Veracruz, Songolica. It's a very small town, 500 people.
Wow.
And they had this horrible road. My dad's company paid for the pavement of that road.
Right.
So they can have transport, so that people can leave and come back. And
Wow. So interesting.
Yeah.
And the government didn't do that?
The government, of course not. They would promise and promise and promise and never deliver.
Yeah. So you gotta go private, dude. That's how you gotta go private. That's how you gotta go Elon Musk.
Well, now Elon Musk is entering Monterrey. They're building this.
Yeah, that's right. That's
humongous,
right.
Tesla center.
Dude, I think that Elon Musk is going to be. We're gonna look back and say he was the most important person in human history.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
We are living with what I think is going to be the most instrumental and relevant human being in the history of mankind.
Yeah. To me, it was crazy learning when he opened, he opened the Tesla patent.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, do whatever, just because I want this. I want the world to be better.
He cares about the world. It's incredible. But more than caring about the world, because a lot of people care about the world, he's actionable about it.
And now he's so invested in SpaceX. It's just insane.
It's incredible. Well, you know how much money he's making, dude. He's got all the government contracts. You know, it's cool. You just do the government for them.
You know why? How he managed it? Do you remember the video of the first time he re-landed the rocket?
That was recently, though.
That was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, no. I'm thinking of something else. Okay.
The idea of SpaceX came because NASA spent so much money on the booster rocket, where they just left them, they landed in the ocean. It was like,
it was never renewable and it was too expensive. And he's like, you have to be able to cut costs in order to do this.
The first time he landed a spacecraft.
Did you read the book? Did you read his?
I haven't read the book.
I have it. Do you want it?
I would love it. I
Dude,
need a book.
I will absolutely. I have it literally inside.
Okay.
I'll give it to you, dude.
Yeah.
It was such a well-written book. First of all, if you like to read it all, you'll finish it very quickly.
Okay.
Second of all, Walter Isaacson, who is the author, does amazing biographies.
Oh, he's amazing.
He wrote this book in a way that the chapters are extremely short, so you can keep on picking it up and putting it down without feeling like you're in the middle of something. So, like, let's say you can read 10 chapters in, let's say, 25, 30 minutes, but when you're done putting it down and you feel like you learned a lot of information, and it was all just condensed into like relevant pieces instead of like kind of just being drawn out. Like it was just very concise and to the point, but covers everything.
No,
It's awesome, dude. It's such
I read his. Do you know?
but it's already
vaccines.
outdated, by the way.
It's outdated.
The books that he did Neuralink since then.
Right.
He literally was able to connect someone's
about it.
head to a computer, and his biography came out before he did that.
Oh, it's insane. Insane, dude. I don't know. I think as a person, he's so weird.
He's a funky dude. You
He's a
gotta
funky
be.
dude.
By the way, because for my high school class last year, we studied a lot of different founders, like great founders, like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and how they had to be broken in some kind of way in order to be so productive. Like a regular person that lives like a regular life
Yeah,
or
would
like
never
splits their
have-
like has a healthy relationship with everything would never be able to do that much because they were obsessive and because they their personality flaws that made them tough with other people makes them so successful at what they do.
Yeah.
And so like I was saying, like, would you and both of them, for example, have very difficult childhoods. And I'd ask my students, like, would you rather go through some really, really hard times to know that you're going to be that great? Or would you rather live your life easy and then just never do anything great with your life and just kind of coast your way through?
That's a great question.
Yeah, we talked a lot about
Oh.
that, dude. And I'm talking to our
Because-
10th, 11th graders about it, too.
Yeah.
Like, they're young.
Because it's not a guarantee.
It's not.
It's like how many people actually you talk about dropouts of college, and
Mhm.
but like I can only name 3 or maybe 2.
That were
2
successful.
dropouts that are now 100% successful.
LeBron,
Well,
Mark Zuckerberg,
Mark Zuckerberg,
Steve Jobs. 3.
3. That's it.
Kendrick Perkins didn't go to college.
But it's so
I don't think.
limited.
Maybe he did.
3 out of 9 billion people.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm sure there's more than we know.
Correct, but the ones we know.
Yeah, but I bet there's more that like that just you didn't know that they dropped out.
Yeah.
That too. But yeah, I have a very difficult time. I think education should be the world's number one priority. Like period.
Mm.
Education is the most important thing. And like good education. I don't mean like checklist education where like everyone has to read To Kill a Mockingbird. Like that's not gonna do anything for the world. But like education, like a focus on how to get people, how to help people achieve their potential. That's what I think education is, right? It's not reading X or Y or Z book. It's how do I take you, or how do you take me, or how does a teacher take us and bring out the most in the way that we work and make us the most productive it could be. That's what education is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And you're arming you with the tools that you presumably will need in order to fulfill your potential. But if you spend all that time ignoring your potential or shoving it down in order to learn those tools, then how far is it really ever going to get you? And that's why it works for those, that's why it doesn't work for those, intensely creative types, because, they're not being appealed to as people. They're trying to get shoved into a mold. And they're like, I'm not meant to be in a mold. I'm not meant to be a square in a circle or this shape in a cookie cutter.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah, it's really
not,
interesting.
Like, I've heard ideas of how to improve the educational system, or how do you fund a kid or somebody to go to college, to go to a master's program, and guarantee or at least have it's a big risk to change to do that on a business space, because colleges, everything is based out of how much money they can earn.
Yeah, but it's weird because if you think about, at least today, colleges, most of the quote unquote money they get is student debt, which people take their entire lives to pay. So they're still counting primarily on donors.
Well,
right? Because, for example, like if you have a graduate, let's say you have, the problem is I don't even know the scale of this, right? I don't know the numbers, but let's say, what percentage of college students do you think are on either a scholarship or take out loans?
Ooh, I have no idea.
Do you think it's 30% or 50% or 70%? Like
how many
how many people are paying full tuition for colleges, right? Because if not, then the college isn't getting compensated based on how many students they have. They count on their alumni base.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
But
Yeah.
the students, for example, student loans, for example,
Yeah.
like colleges still get paid with the student loans.
Yeah, well, but over the course of 20, 30, 40 years.
Well,
Right.
I've heard people say like colleges today are acting sort of like hedge funds
By
for
investing
students.
like that, like taking,
Yeah, like they
you're
earn
charging
so
interest.
much money.
They charge a lot of interest.
They do.
They charge really high interest, for sure. Yeah, dude, all my friends that go to Nova Med School here, dude, they leave college $500,000 in debt. They like get their college. They start day one as being a doctor, and their balance is negative $500,000.
There's no way. I could not do that.
Right? I mean, granted, you're probably starting at making $150,000 or $200,000 a year. You know, unless you're doing like family medicine or you know, if you're a pediatrician, what did that say?
85% pay full tuition.
That's a lot. Really?
U.S.
What? I'm blown away by that number. Private schools or public schools?
Private.
85%?
89 at a private college.
Really?
Imagine how much money these colleges are making, plus donors.
Fuck,
of course, there's
man.
expense, but like people start saying like,
Fuck.
they act as a hedge fund.
There's no way. I thought
There were more on student loans.
for sure. By the way, look this up. Is taking student loans considered paying full tuition?
Okay, that's a good.
Right? Because if you're still taking student loans, and the university is getting off, let's say $50,000. NYU, I think, is like $50,000 a semester or a year or something like that, right? Then they're technically paying full time, but they're just paying it over the course of a bunch of years.
Yeah, student loans do cover full tuition.
There you go. So now look up what percent of people are on student loans, and then that'll give us a more accurate idea, because that's what the colleges aren't getting up front.
What percentage of people are?
Because I guess because a lot of this business, especially like day-to-day life, is cash flow. You know, like a lot of it, like paying, like if your school expands and like you got to pay, you know, a commercial loan, you know, and I'm sure there are probably some government programs for schools or whatever, but 55%. That makes more sense now.
Yeah.
So now it's really like 35% pay full tuition every semester out of pocket, right? Because 35%.
85, maybe they got like the idea.
85% pay full, but of that 85%, 55% are on loans,
So.
and then there's another 15% that aren't that are on some kind of scholarship one way or another. So the school is really only, I'd say, maybe getting 25 or 35% of their full tuition every year.
Yeah, up front.
They're not getting a lot of cash flow that they probably require from their donors more often. I never thought about the economy, the economics of how universities work.
Maybe it's not public information.
Maybe it should be if it's a public school.
It should.
Maybe if it's taxpayers. Listen, a private school is a private school. Yeah. The other thing I always think about is I don't like how capitalism allows capitalists to take money from people that aren't capitalists.
What do you mean?
Like when America allowing like China to invest in America. Like America should be able to say, like, if you're not a capitalistic culture, then you can't invest in capitalism because there's inherently a conflict of
interest.
Yeah.
Who cares about interest?
You should, in order to be a functioning society, you have to care about interest, because then it accumulates to favors, or it opens yourself up to.
Yeah, like you are correct to a point, but then like think about on the capitalist side, it's like why not?
Right. And so there's another interesting book called The Big Picture by a guy named Ben Fritz.
Okay,
he's a great guy, and he wrote a book. I think it's The Big Picture about why recently, if you feel like all the movies that you see in theaters are like Fast and Furious or Marvel movies or DC movies, and how come they're not like Good Will Hunting or Superbad, right? And because since China became uh, such a huge box office location, like for movie theaters to open, um, studios don't want to take a risk for a movie that isn't going to translate to a national audience. And nothing speaks to a national audience like big CGI action. And nothing speaks to a big audience like those crazy, Marvel movies. Yeah. And so studios are like, why would I make another Robin Williams drama movie when no one in China is going to watch it? But if they do watch it, we can make $100 million in China. $100 million, dude. Like that's an insane number.
Yeah.
You know? So when you open yourself up, you kind of lose the culture, you lose the life. Like movie studios are like, and that's why streaming services, which count on subscribers, they're the ones that make those movies because they want to speak to as many different people, as wide of an audience as possible, so that everyone signs up for their content. Right? So Netflix, if you like vampire, romantic movies, and I like sports documentaries, and my wife likes Grey's Anatomy, it's in Netflix's interest to make all of those different type of genres and to say yes to everything, which is why new content is always coming onto Netflix because they want to appeal to as many different audiences as possible. Movie studios, they go, as many people at once have to be interested in this one type of movie. And what's the underlying movie?
Yeah. What's the movies nowadays suck.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It's been so long, which you're like, wow, this is a great movie.
But that's like the good movies that come out now are movies that go to or that are released by Amazon or Netflix or Apple TV or HBO or whatever it is, because they're the ones trying to make good quality movies that people will want to, that will have an audience.
Yeah, for example, Messi's movie. Who do you think has it?
Apple TV, right?
Apple TV.
Yeah, they have everything to do with Messi.
Everything.
They have soccer. They have his games. They have his documentary. I'm sure they paid him a lot. It's another $200 million.
Going to have Tiger Woods' documentary or LeBron James' documentary.
LeBron James, I could see doing Netflix. Yeah.
Maybe. Or Amazon.
No, I would imagine. There's different tiers and different levels of reputation with different studios, right?
Wait, LeBron is Nike, right?
Nike, yeah.
Who did the movie for Nike for Michael Jordan? Netflix?
No, I think that was Amazon.
No,
or Apple TV. No, it was Amazon.
Amazon? The Last Dance for Michael Jordan?
Oh no, The Last Dance is Michael Jordan. I thought the movie Air. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, I think that was Amazon.
But
Last Dance was Netflix, right? Netflix is known to be so Apple TV is famous for spending on famous people, actors, directors, actresses, producers, and not directors. I said directors. Forgot the word now. Whatever, their reputation, right? Like, and Apple, which is a $1 trillion company, has no problem spending $200 million on a Martin Scorsese movie, which was the what do you call it? The new Scorsese movie about the Native Americans.
Oh, didn't see it.
Oh my gosh, really? Yeah. It's a long movie. It's like 3.5, 4 hours.
Oh no, I definitely didn't see that.
The Killer of the Flower Moons.
Okay.
And it's basically about what the American West was like as it expanded westward, and an American and settlers' relationship to the Native Americans, and how they would pretty much abuse the hell out of them, and abuse them to take their oil, take their money. And it was based in Oklahoma, where it was big oil county, but Apple spent $200 million on the movie. The movie made like $40 million or like $90 million in theaters. Something like very, very little like that. Like not substantive. But they're like, it's advertising for them. Because Apple's worth so much money that just to say we have Scorsese, DiCaprio, and De Niro all in one cast, we're like, it doesn't make...
We are part
It's
of the
nothing.
game.
Like, it's nothing on them. Like, if they don't make it, it's a write-off. Who gives a crap, you know? Netflix can't afford a write-off like that, you know? Yeah, everything's a write-off. It's crazy.
Maybe even bringing Messi is a write-off.
Yeah, but you know who did it? It's Apple. Apple's smart, man. They're but you know what's also crazy? Guess what percentage of viewing time is spent on Apple TV?
like compared to other.
What percent, like out of 100%,
Uh-huh.
you have, let's say Netflix say is like hypothetically like 30%.
Okay.
What do you think Apple is?
Like 3%.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
2 or less percent.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Like,
They
I
invest
think their
all this
best
money
thing
into
they
stuff
have-
and they get no eyes.
I think the best thing that they had, like at least the past 2 years, is Ted Lasso.
You like Ted Lasso?
Love.
Did you watch Severance?
No.
Severance is a show about a guy that works at a company. When you walk into the building, you don't remember anything about your life outside of work, and when you walk out of work, you don't remember anything about your life inside of the office, and you're completely severed from work home.
The work-life
So
balance.
there's the show starts. The first episode, there's a woman that's applying for a job, and she's like, I don't know who I am. They're like, you're working for this company. And she freaks out. She's like, no, and she runs out the front door. But when she runs out the front door, she remembers she doesn't remember that she had that bad experience. She remembers that she wants to work there, so she keeps on coming back in. And she just until she comes to terms with the fact that like this is now her life. It's a crazy show, dude. Severance on Apple TV.
Oof, I gotta watch.
And then Hijacked. Did you watch Hijacked?
Hijacked
With Idris Elba.
So, yeah.
That was with I forgot his name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name. He's great. It's about he's an English guy, and on his way from Dubai, I think, back to England, their plane gets hijacked. It's like a 7-part, 1-season show. That was also like my wife and I were gonna go on a date, and while we're eating dinner, we put the show on.
Stayed.
We did not go on a date, dude. We stayed and we spent from 7 p.m. to like 2 o'clock in the morning in front of the TV, dude. We did not stop watching.
Those are the best.
It was so good, dude. It was so good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you gotta watch Severance, dude.
I gotta watch Severance.
Anyway. All right. So you think we should call it here? We got about 2 hours in. What do you think?
Amazing. Love it.
You had fun? Cheers, dude.
It's a great way.
I'm telling you, dude. All right, let's call it here. I'll get you back on. We'll do it again. And thanks for coming, dude.
No, definitely.
Dude, this is so much fun, man. Awesome. We're going to do it again. Bye, everyone.